Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So the topics that we will cover in this video will be how the rental cost had been affected since 2021 across Australia, how the rental prices are differing within each major cities across Australia. That will give you a kind of a picture which cities are still affordable in terms of rental. Best ways to find the rental property, like which sites you can access in order to get some insights and also get some assistance to find some good rental properties. What are the factors we need to take into account before finalizing any rental property? Like for example, what kind of conditions that you need to have in order to say that alright, this is the property that where I would like to rent for the next 6 months or 1 year or even more. The steps that every applicant need to apply before you apply for the rental property. What are the things that you have to do in order to secure that property under your name? And finally, the tips and tricks. The tips and tricks will be mostly what we had tried and we had seen others tried, and those are the things that we will share it with you. Those tips and tricks might differ from each other and might differ from each situation as well, but definitely can help you make up your own mind and play around with to see how you can secure a rental property. That will also give you a kind of a picture on where to go for, how to save money and all these details. So without any further delay, let's start the video. Friends, back in 2020, that is during the COVID-19, the rental prices decreased a lot. The reason behind is that work from home culture came into effect. So for that reason, many people went back to their own hometown and many even traveled to their own countries to work from their home rather than being in Australia at that point of time. But post 2021, the rental prices increased by 11% per annum all over Australia. Since 2021, the rental prices in every city have increased by 9% per annum and 11% in regional areas. The demand for accommodation and rental just surged because the supply was very low but the demand was very high. Work from home post-COVID have boosted the rental as many have moved to suburbs and regional areas. The recent increase in interest rate for the home loan too played a very vital role in the rental increase. This something affected the rental increase recently that happened across Australia. If you see the graph, from the graph you can figure out that some of our major cities that we just discussed, like Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Sydney, Adelaide, they all had increased a lot because the vacancy rate you can see had gone down a lot since 2021. So back in 2020, if you can see, there is a spike and then all of a sudden it just decreased to below 2%, which is really less than what it was before. Now, due to the low vacancy that is below 2%, the supply is still less, that is the houses are still very few, but the demand for rental had increased a lot. That is one of the reasons. If you see recently in all of the states, the rental price had increased. That is called median weekly rental. Again, one more thing to remember, here in Australia we pay our rental weekly, not monthly. So all our rentals are actually calculated weekly. So here the median weekly rental increased from, if you can see, for a state like Tasmania, increased from $200, that was around like back in 2018 between $200 to $300. It had increased since then, and now in 2023 the price is between $300 to $400, like $350, $360 or even $400. If we see the states like NSW and Victoria, NSW had increased from $500 to $600 per week. The significant increase that happened was for the ACT. ACT is the capital of Australia. It's the capital territory of Australia. ACT, Australian Capital Territory, and Canberra is the capital of Australia. And that place had boomed like anything, and the rental price had increased between 400 and 500 what it was back in 2018 to between 500 to 600 Australian dollars per week now currently in 2023. Same holds for Victoria. So Victoria was known to be the most cheapest when it comes to the rental affordability. Currently, as per the Australian economy, it still stands very strong when it comes to affordable rental property and that's something Victoria still is very proud of, where the rentals had not increased significantly like the way other states had. If you see the states like South Australia or Western Australia or Queensland, they have all increased significantly. It is a clear picture that you can find if you are planning to travel to Western Australia, how the rental median price for Western Australia from 2018 till 2020 was a straight line. So there was no movement, but all of a sudden post COVID, due to the COVID-19 restrictions and because of the work from home culture, many actually traveled and preferred to stay in cities like Perth, which was more cheaper, and because of that the rental prices increased a lot. So that had increased from $350 to $450 to $500, which we will see in a while using the actual data and the application itself, that is the domain.com.au. The next part that we will be discussing in this video are the best ways how you can find the right rental property in Australia. We have many sites in Australia, but two of the most major sites that we always used to focus on is one is realestate.com.au, which is the number one in Australia and have more listings than any other sites. But the other one, which is also gaining a lot of popularity recently, is the domain.com.au. Although both of them shares the same data coming from the same source, that is CoreLogic. The next is the factors that you need to take into account before finalizing or even considering for applying for a rental property. Some of the things that you definitely need to understand or do some research and need to do your own due diligence in order to know the neighborhood better. Not all the neighborhood in Australia are the best. So it's up to you to do a few research, talk to people, find the area and understand the landscape of it. Some of the factors that we always used to look for when we actually select a rental property is location, schools, if there are any good schools nearby, public transport, shops, hospitals and the neighborhood itself. Here in Australia, you might never get a chance to know your owner, or you will not be able to get a chance to actually communicate to your owners directly. Everything goes via the property manager. Property manager is the middleman who can come in and take care of the property on behalf of the owner. So these are the steps that you need to follow in order to apply for the rental property. You like the property, you have done your own due diligence, you have done the research on the neighborhood, now you are planning to go and apply for the rental property. The first thing you do is that you have to create a interest for that property. That interest will go to the property manager. He or she will schedule an appointment with you where you have to go physically to inspect the house. If you like the house, then they will share you one tenant agreement form. You need to fill up the form and share it to the property manager. Property manager will first check and review the form, and if he or she finds this form to be genuine, then he or she will then shortlist it and will send it across to the owner. If then the owner feels that yes, this applicant looks good and is really genuine and we should go ahead with them, then what they will do is that they will initiate a background verification. In sometimes they also do some PCC, that is police clearance certificate as well. They might ask you for that. If all goes well, then they will send you the actual rental agreement with the date to move in. You can bid for the rental as well. So say for example, if the rental is listed for 480 or 500 Australian dollars, then you can bid for it. You can bid less or you can bid more. The reason behind is that we don't have any such thing as rental caps. Like if it is 500, it have to be 500. It's not like that. You can definitely bid for it, but again it differs from situation to situation. Like for example, if the demand is high, like there is a rental property and there are 30 applicants coming to that rental property, then out of the 30, the best who bids the most can even win, or sometimes even the person who is bidding the low can also win, depending on how you actually projected your own application. But many a times owners look at who is actually bidding the best and then they can go ahead with it. In our case, when we traveled to Australia for the first time, we were lucky enough that we bid for $5 more than what it was been listed and we got it. The reason behind is our background was very solid. We had a steady income and we had a full back end on our financial conditions. For that reason, the owner immediately agreed within the week and we got the keys in a month. So now let me take you through the documents that you need in order to support the application that we applied for the rental property. The documents like rental history, if possible, or referrals, pay slips or your bank statements, ID card, that is your driving license or passport, and Medicare card. In Australia, every application that we fill, including our visa applications or anything, they are all point based. Even the same that goes for the rental as well. So every document that you submit have some points on behalf of it. So say for example, if you are sharing your passport, then that's a 50 points. If you are sharing your driving license, it's a 40 points. Similarly, the more you share, it's the better. That's what they say. So basically, if you can catch up to at least 80 points, 70 to 80 points, then it makes a valid application and that goes through the shortlisting process. I am sure you must be having a question, that is, if I am new in Australia and I don't have any rental history, how can I share those rental histories that you just had mentioned? Absolutely true. Even for us, when we traveled here for the first time, we didn't have any rental history. In that case, also you need to discuss that with the property manager. You have to share him or her your details and tell him or her that you are very new to Australia and you are currently staying in a temporary accommodation. They might ask you that please do share any referral, and the referral might be the person with whom you are staying right now, or could be your manager as well. Share them their details so that they can just verify on your behalf that if you are the right person and if you have the right attitude as well. Mostly what they do to check in the rental history is that you hadn't fall into the default, hadn't had any kind of issues with your ex owners or ex property managers. So they just wanted to ensure that with shortlisting the right applicant before handing you the keys. Now this will be a bit of a challenge, but I'm pretty sure it can be easily overcome when the right property manager understands or considers your concern. Now finally, the tips and the tricks. The tips and the tricks that I will share you, like I said, it might differ from each situation to situation and from each person to person. If possible, please try to put a bit more than what it is been listed. So say for example, if they are listed for 500 Australian dollars, bid it for 505. Do it if and only if you can afford it. Just don't do it in order to win the deal, but also to ensure that you can actually afford it. So when you do it a bit more, then that actually comes to the picture where the person who is going to shortlist, they always used to ensure that if someone is actually able to pay that much of more amount than what it has been listed, then they definitely go ahead with that person rather than the person who is trying to bid for 490. Another tip will be, if you don't wish to sacrifice on your lifestyle, then I would highly recommend you move to some suburbs. If you move to suburbs, you will be paying 400 to 500 Australian dollars per week, but this time you are not going to pay for a small apartment, rather you are going to pay for a big house on a big land. This will give you ample space to stay with your whole family without sacrificing the space that you might not be able to get in the city. Yes, the only demerit will be that you have to travel to city if you are going to work from the office. So you have to be very cognizant of the fact that if you are looking for a suburb, find a suburb where it have a good public transport that will commute you to and from the city. Another tip that I will share, and I hope you will not be ashamed of asking that, is you might check with your colleague or friend to share you a few amount of dollars, like 2000 to 3000 Australian dollars, that they can deposit to your bank account temporarily, which you can draw a bank statement out of it, share it to your property manager. This will also give them a clear picture that you hold some amount with you currently that you can pay immediately for the deposit or for the bond. So let's move to the demo. Let me take you through the domain.com.au and show you the locations. So we will start with the Melbourne with a 1 BHK 1 bedroom apartment in the Melbourne CBD. Melbourne CBD is the place where you will find a lot of startups and IT companies having their offices set up. So here you go. This video might be a bit long because I have to take you through all the states and all the cities, right? So please have some patience and go through the video, and if you feel like you need more information, please do put it into my comment section and we can discuss about it further. So in this video, what you can see here is that this is the CBD of the Melbourne, and here you can see there are a lot of 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 car park listings already available. So these are all green that you can see are the listings, and these are all currently available that you can go in and you can apply for the rental property. These two properties that I am hovering around, one is 1 bedroom 1 bathroom but there is no car park. The other one is 1 bedroom 1 bathroom with a car park, but the rental is showing as one with $700 per week and the other one is $600 per week. So let's go into one of them and start looking into the pictures of those property. From here also you will find all the information like how the property looks like and how this big is the size, and everything will be detailed in the domain.com.au for you. Now once you like the photos and you feel like yes, this is the property that I am looking for, and again the rental differs from each building to building. Sometimes the building might be a bit old, but sometimes the building might be a bit new. For the reason the rental might differ as well. All the amenities and everything will be listed in the description, and if you don't have that, you can definitely just call the property managers and they will share all the information to you. Then from the domain.com.au, if you scroll down, you will also find the details of the schools that are closer to that property. From here you can see the list of all the schools including government and private, and you can see the kilometers as well, like how much is the distance from the property as well. And if you click on this more information, you will be able to see a lot of information about that college, about the school, about the admissions and everything, from where you can even go back and apply for your kids or something like that. So yeah, all these informations that are available on the domain.com.au, which will guide you and will give you a bit of an idea on how the property looks like, where the property is currently, and is it the right property as the schools are not close by or schools are close by. This is another property that you can see, which is for $600 per week as listed, and it is on the 7th floor of this apartment, because here the mostly that if it is 708 then it is mostly the 7th floor or something like that. So here also you will find all the details of the property, and if you like the property then you just have to apply to the property manager, and immediately the property manager will share you across the details of. Once you click on that apply button, it automatically will take you to that form where you need to apply for all the details along with the documents, and also you can now bid over here. You can see the rent per week. You have to first fill up all the details like emergency documents, emergency details, your travel documents and all, and then you can bid for here. So say for example, if the listing is for 570 and you can then bid for 580 or 575 or something, and then apply for the rental application. That automatically will trigger a notification to the property manager. Now let's find some properties, how it looked like and how much will be the rental if we go a bit far from the city, which is again, like I said, is not that far, like Hoppers Crossing, Starnet, Trugerina, or where I stay, that is in the Carolyn Springs. They are around like 30 to 40 minutes away from the city by car and 30 to 40 minutes by train as well. So once I get rid of those filters of 1 bedroom 1 bath that we were looking into the city, now you can see here the same price of $480 you can get a full house, like 4 bedroom 2 bath 1 car or 2 car garage. So the $695, it's a bit expensive. Of course the house could be a bit new, but you can definitely see the difference, right? For the $695, which I will show you in a bit, if you are going to look in the city, in the $695 you will find a 1 bedroom 1 bath without car, or might be with the car. But if you see the same pricing, you will find a bigger property in the suburbs with a big size land where you can stay with your whole family, and they are very closer to the stations, closer to the bus stops and the freeway. If you scroll down again, you will see all the details like when is the next inspection, so you can book it for now, or you can also request for a private inspection. Also, you can take a virtual tour of the property from the site as well. Now you can also find all the schools nearby to that property where you are planning to move or you are planning to shortlist. All these details are well captured in the domain.com.au or in the realestate.com.au. Now let's try to explore the market in Sydney. Normally in the Sydney, the rental prices are a bit higher than any other cities. Now if you wish to stay in the CBD, then you might have to pay between 500 to 2000 Australian dollars per week for a small 1 bedroom 1 bath apartment. It's very expensive. The reason behind is that the demand is even more in Sydney. Again, I will highly recommend, if possible, travel to a bit suburban areas where you can pay for a good house for the same price that you saw that in the Victoria. It might be a bit more than what you saw in the Victoria. It could be around 500 to 600, but with that cost you might get a better house on a good sized land, and you don't need to sacrifice your lifestyle because of the same. Again, applying for the rental properties in Sydney is very much similar to how it is in Melbourne. Friends, it is true that post 2021 or during the COVID, many people migrate to Perth because the weather over there is really great, and the demography as well is closer to the Asian countries and to the European countries as well. Because of such demand and less supply in Perth, the rental prices had increased by 12 to 15% in a year. Now, what the price that you will see in Perth is very equivalent to how you will see in Sydney as well. I recently heard from my friends who had migrated to Perth. They are still struggling to find a good rental property over there as the competition is very high. It has been said that for a single property, the property managers are getting hundreds and hundreds of applications from all over the Australia and even from abroad. So please do your own due diligence and do your own research before planning or deciding which state to travel. In Australia, it is said that still now Victoria is the most affordable place to accommodate and living in here. Just because I stay in Victoria doesn't mean that I am actually promoting this state and asking you guys to come here to stay with us. I'm just telling you from my experiences so far. But again, like I said, if given a chance, I would love to explore other states. Like I loved Adelaide, I loved Perth as well, and if given a chance, then I would love to move to those states and stay over there as well. So now let's move to Adelaide, which is in South Australia. And in Adelaide, the prices are still affordable but still not that cheap. Here in the CBD itself, you will find a 2 bedroom 1 bath 1 car park for $600 per week, which is quite nominal if you compare that with Victoria or Sydney. So basically, if you go a bit far, you might find bigger houses for a reasonable rental price. So say for example, if I go to this place which is like 3 bedroom 1 bath or 4 bedroom 2 bath 1 car, it all comes within the same price range. So again, one of this property that I liked, which I will just show you, is this one. And if you see the listing, it's a family house. It's a very beautiful big house, and if you see from the interiors, it looks really good. But again, you need to go and do your own inspection before you consider applying for this kind of properties. But if you see, the house looks great, the size of the land is huge, and it gives you a bit of a room to stay with your own family. The rental listing is $775 per week, and with a bond of 3,000 something, which is refundable again. Now let me take you through the Brisbane market. Now in Brisbane, the property rental are really high, even in the CBD or even if you go to a bit suburban areas. If you can see, the rental prices are really high in Brisbane, and one of the reasons behind it is again the same, supply and demand. The supply is less and the demand is more. The another reason behind why people usually used to move to Brisbane is again because of the weather. The weather over there is hot and humid, which many people also love or like it. Not like in Melbourne or in Sydney, where it always used to be very cold. For example, in this listing you can see it's a small townhouse apartment and the rental is for $450 per week, which is really good, not bad, and the bond is for some $1,800, I would say. And so if you can see all the details about it, like how far it is from the rail, from the bus and other areas as well. The schools and everything is the same information that you had already seen in earlier videos as well, so which you can figure out from the domain.com.au. So finally we are at Hobart, and Hobart is the capital of Tasmania, which is a small island just south of Melbourne. And Hobart is still very affordable when it comes to the rental properties. We don't see an influx of people traveling to Hobart a lot or stay over there. I might be wrong as well, but I had seen that many people prefer to stay whether in Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, all in Adelaide or in Perth. But very few used to prefer to travel to Tasmania or to Hobart to stay. Although the location over there are mind-blowing and they're beautiful. But still many prefer to stay in the inland, that is in Victoria or in ACT or in Queensland or in say Western Australia. Many properties in Hobart are very old, and for the reason the rentals are very less. So with this I am ending this video. I hope I have shared all the relevant information that is needed for the viewers to get an idea how the rental property currently looks like in Australia. If you have any concerns or queries, please do not hesitate to reach out to me in this comment section and I will revert back to you on the same. If you wish to know more about Australia on any particular subject, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comment section and I will revert back to you on the same by creating a video on top of it. Again, till we meet next, thank you and goodbye.